everybody to sales technologies that accelerate the buyer's journey. I am so excited to be here. I am Brynne Tillman, Chief Learning Officer at PeopleLinks. We're a guided social selling firm that helps sales professionals take the right social actions at the right time through our platform. I'm going to introduce our panel for today, and then we're going to jump into some really great insights that can help your teams use technologies better. So welcome, Morgan.
Thanks, Brynne. Hi, I'm Morgan. I work with a company called Altify, and we make proven enterprise sales methodology in software sellers want to use. And I am Senior Director of Content and Community for Altify, and I'm delighted to be here today. Did you hear that? Oh, yeah. Brynne, I don't think Brynne heard it.
I think she's frozen, perhaps.
Maybe we'll continue on the introductions then until Brynne gets
work away.
Back away. Alrighty, so my name is Terrance Kwok. I am a sales development manager at a company called Vidyard based in Canada. Vidyard is a video platform for business, so we help enable businesses use video across their organization, and part of that is for sales functions. So we enable sales teams to use video content in both their prospecting and remaining parts of their sales cycle. So I'll probably be talking to a lot of the topics today from a business development sort of standpoint.
Cool. So my name is Daniel Barber.
Thanks, Terrance. Oh. And hi, Daniel. How are you today?
Yeah, good. Thank you, Brynne. Yeah, so my name is Daniel Barber. I lead sales for Datanize. We empower modern sales and marketing professionals to make smarter, data-driven decisions. So yeah, excited to talk about this topic. Have a little bit of experience in sales and marketing tech, and hoping listeners get value out of the session.
Well, after talking with some of you guys and doing some research and look everybody up on LinkedIn, there's some amazing people with some amazing insights. So I'm really excited to get started. So let's jump into some of the questions. The first one, guys, is when you launch a new piece of technology, whether you're launching your technology inside of a company or you bring in a new technology that you're going to be using in your sales stack, what are you guys doing that gets buy-in from the sales team? So let's start with Morgan. Morgan, what are you doing that helps get buy-in from the sales team?
So we implement sales technology into the sales stack as a business, and so we are always working with our customers to try to get them to adopt the technology. And in fact, that is usually one of our biggest challenges. But what we generally try to do is to highlight for the team how much it's going to actually help them close more deals, increase deal size, increase win rate, all the things that are definitely going to make their jobs easier, and show them and demonstrate that the tools are available there at their fingertips. And then that's how we usually get them over the line on the buy-in. So
awesome. That's great. Really good insight. So make sure, recapping on that, make sure that the sales rep knows why that technology has been implemented for them, that it's not just about something else to do, it's something that will help them be more productive. I love that. So Terrance, tell me a little bit about what you guys do to help really increase adoption with technology in the sales team.
Awesome. Yeah. So like I mentioned earlier in the introduction, I manage a business development team. So luckily, I haven't had too many issues with getting buy-in from my reps in the past. They're all young, hungry, and they want to do well. So they're always excited for that new shiny tool. So the big thing is actually setting the expectations on how this tool should actually be used. So typically they're all excited to jump on board, but how do we make sure, we're setting milestones when we're rolling out a tool with the team? So for example, if we were implementing a cadence tool, which cadences you should be using, how many leads should you be putting to that cadence on a weekly basis, and then at what point should we check in to see what's working, what's not working. On top of that, we always create a Slack channel for every new tool that we roll out to the team. So it'll be called tool-feedback, and everyone posts any feedback they're having, struggles, wins, losses, and we find that people like to gravitate to the conversations happening in those channels because they're seeing all the wins that are coming from it, which then increases the chances that these business development reps get buy-in for that product or buy-in for that tool.
So that's my takeaway for today. We're big Slack users here at People Links, but we don't do that, and that's amazing. I love that. That's great. Now, Dan, you got to follow up with that. Beat that one.
So I'm fortunate enough to have sales operations under my umbrella as well on the sales team. So I have someone who is our sales and marketing operations manager. So his job is basically bucketed into 3 areas. One is management systems, the other one is process improvements, and the last one being technology innovation. So his sole task is to actually find innovative technologies, not just iterative like improvements. So, process improvements are great, but his job is tasked with actually proactively looking for technologies that will adjust and make a significant impact on the business. There's a lot of noise, to be honest, in sales and technology, sales and marketing technology. And frankly, at this point, as we're a cash positive business, we're really looking for technologies that are going to move the needle, not just make a small incremental improvement for a significant amount of cost. When rolling them out specifically, my advice, we're also rolling out sales and marketing technology ourselves, being that we sell to sales and marketing teams. I think the technology itself needs to be adopted with very little input from reps and from managers. If it's difficult to roll out and there's low adoption, and so focusing on perhaps the individual on the team who is least likely to adopt, so a lone wolf type of rep, if they are not adopting the technology, then I'm not going to beat the technology into the business. The technology needs to evolve so that the customer and buyer experience actually improve. And so, my advice to any of the technology providers out there, if your user experience doesn't support and allow adoption, like go back and work with your product team. We've seen that countless times, and I think it's very easy to just adopt the new shiny thing. It's harder to look for why you're adopting it.
I love that. So I'm just going to add a couple quick things. Number one, I think it's really important to add all of your new technology to your KPIs. So make sure when you are coaching that you've got KPIs specifically for each of the tools to identify if they're being used right. The next thing, which is actually the before thing, or when it rolls out, is make sure you have guided learning. That you are not just rolling it out and having them like peck and try to figure it out. And I'm not talking about you don't have to have a big sales kickoff for every sales tool, but to be able to help them leverage the tool and understand where in the sales process it's going to fall and totally understand how it's going to hit their wallet. That when you use this, you make more money, and this is why and how. So those are my buy-ins. Awesome answers, guys. That was great. Number 2, how does sales methodology implemented into the sales technology stack accelerate the buyer's journey, accelerate the sales process? So again, how does your methodology, your sales training, your overall methodology fit into technology and your stack? So I'm going to rotate this, and now I'm going to start with Terrance. Terrance, tell us how does your methodology and stack align?
Yeah, I think that's the big point, is they need to align, right? Every single technology that you bring into your sales process, you bring into your sales stack, should be very aligned with the sales methodology that you're running at your company. So for us, we've looked at our sales methodology and the things that we want our reps to be doing, as if they are executing their process and they're executing the methodology, that should be accelerating the buyer's journey, because we're doing the right things. So for us, what I find is we look at tools and we make sure that it actually lines up, and we set accountability, like you mentioned in your last response, that setting KPIs and setting metrics that they need to be following for that specific tool. We will do like check-ins on a constant basis to make sure that, are we using this tool correctly? For example, if we're telling our reps to do hyper-personalized messaging to their prospective customers, are they actually using the tools in place to do that? Because we know if they're hyper-personalized, we're going to get more people interested in the product and people that want to kick off an evaluation.
Excellent. So aligning the methodologies of what, like the templates of those messages along with the technology that you're using. So if you learn a certain methodology on how to write a really good email, make sure that that marries in with your tech stack. I love that. Thank you so much. Daniel, how about you? How are you guys aligning sales methodology with your, either internally with your team or when you roll out your technology to a client? How are you aligning the methodology?
So I think it's a great question, actually, an interesting one. So our sales methodology, I've been a huge fan of the Challenger sale since Matt Dixon wrote the book in 2011. We were really lucky at the time. I was at Responsus, and so we had Matt and the CB working hands-on with us at that time in 2012.
That's awesome.
So we were really lucky there. So I've kind of carried that on through now 3 businesses. And so, you know, we're definitely, we adopted the sort of, you know, lead to approach as opposed to lead with. So going through the path of the Challenger sale of, you know, a warmer to a rational, warmer to a reframe to a rational drowning to the new way to our solution. So sort of that path there. And so that's generally adopted through all of the messaging that we do. So emails that are constructed in that format, as well as phone conversations that we track and we analyze through Chorus. So those are automatically recorded. So all conversations that occur. And so, you know, there's definitely a feedback loop to ensure that we're really challenging the concept that firmographic information, i.e. the number of employees. So if someone has, you know, 501 employees and someone has 499, the difference as an organization is nothing. So the concept that we use these values, so number of employees and revenue, for defining territories, defining quotas, defining good leads, it's very archaic. And so that creates a very straightforward reframe, and we use that in all of our messaging across the respective technology partners we use.
That's very good. Thank you so much for that. And Morgan, tell us a little bit about how you align methodologies with your software when you roll this out to your clients.
I'm gonna go back to the question, which is, how does the methodology built into your sales stack accelerate the buyer's journey? And the reason I'm answering it that way is because our methodology is built into our software. So we're the TAS group, and now Altify, and our TAS 1 to 20 methodology is built.
It was wonderful at Responsus, by the way. We were one of the first customers, TAS and CEB working together. That was 2012, so 2013.
Cool, then it's not the Challenger sale. Yeah. It's TAS. glad you got there. So from our perspective, this is one of our key points that we want to make in the marketplace, which is, if you have a sales methodology that is aligned with your buyer process, and your technology is serving up the next steps that the seller needs to go through in order to lead the buyer down the path that they need to be educated so that they can make an informed decision and make a sale, then you can see how methodology built into the platform will advance the sales cycle. It will definitely make the sales cycle happen more quickly. And so it's absolutely key, and particularly in onboarding. With new salespeople coming on stream, they need to know what they need to do in order to get the buyer to continue to move forward in the process. And so the methodology needs to literally handhold them and take them through the steps of where they need to introduce content, where they need to ask high yield questions, where they need to do everything in order to move the process forward. And so it's absolutely critical that your sales process and your buying process are aligned inside your sales software, and it's supported by methodology that then moves it forward. So this is my favorite question that we're going to cover. Sorry, I took so much time, but awesome that you gave me the opportunity to cover it all. Thanks.
Yeah, no, that was absolutely fantastic. And I think just my little 2 cents in here, I mean, I think that's amazing. And the buyer's journey is absolutely vital that we are following the new buyer's journey, right? And that we understand that it's not just pushing our agenda anymore. So we have to make sure that we're looking at it from a perspective of what that buyer needs. And one of the things I think that breaks down often is when you roll out a technology and maybe doesn't contradict your methodology, but doesn't fit into that natural new sales cycle. And I think there's a big breakdown there. And I think one of the reasons we don't get adoption, we'll go back, when you don't get adoption to sales tools, is because they don't fit into what makes sense in my normal process. So I think, Morgan, that was an awesome, awesome answer. Thank you. Third one, how do you plan for evolution of technology as a technology company and the typical life cycle of a SaaS tool? So we're going to start with Daniel this time.
Yeah, so this is an interesting one, especially just from being involved in sort of the first investments in the sales category. So I spent my former life at Towdap, joining as an advisor there in 2013. So obviously know that particular area and category really, really well. Jason Lemkin actually evaluated our business at that stage and felt that the category was too small. So a lot of things have changed since 2012, 2013. So how do I think about improvements? I think about it in terms of, if we're only going to get a 1x or 2x increase on upgrading and making that change to alternative, hopefully improved alternative, that's not enough from a switching cost standpoint. It really has to be 10x. So, contradictory to where I stand, I mean, internally today, we use a mixture of sort of outreach as well as serious insights. And that's because that's what the team wants to use. And that's
so
where I stand.
So to clarify, you're talking about this in the evolution of your product? So
more so in the evolution of investments we would make in technology. So maybe I misunderstood the question, but my understanding was that, how would we look at technology that we would improve based on where we've already invested?
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. So,
yeah, you bet.
So, Terrance, I hear a little feedback. I apologize if you're hearing that. How are you planning to evolve your product, your technology, and how does that fit into kind of the life cycle of a typical SaaS tool?
Yeah, so by my technology, it's like what Vidyard, the Vidyard technology itself.
Right. So how are they going to evolve? So video is huge right now, right?
Yeah.
Video, that's like the in thing is video.
Yeah. I think we might have cut out a bit there.
Well, I think you know where the question is going.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'll talk a little bit about Vidyard. So we started off as a tool primarily for marketers, and we needed to evolve because we saw that video was kind of permeating into the world of sales. And I think the way we think about making sure that the technology continues to evolve and is applicable in the future is about integrating with literally everything. You can't have our video tool just live by itself on an island away from all the other things that salespeople care about. In this case, Salesforce integrations with cadence tools. It's important to have that product work with everything else a sales team would be using. So for us, for example, we initially started off with a straightforward, marketing automation integration and a Salesforce integration. And then we've noticed, apps like Towdap and SalesLoft are starting to pick up a lot of steam, and there's a huge market with sales development reps using those cadence management tools to contact their buyers. So we knew we needed Vidyard embedded and integrated into those platforms, which is really what we're looking to do now. Is like our product team is always evaluating opportunities for us to integrate with what our buyers are actually using to make sure that that stack is actually a stack and it's well connected. Yeah, that's where we're at with Vidyard and with video for sales, and looking to just have that everywhere and playing well with all the other tools.
Awesome. That's great. Now I know I had a little technology problem. Did I miss everyone? Or did we get through that? Are we on question number 4?
Morgan has needs to go.
Oh, Morgan. Okay, I'm sorry, Morgan. I hopped off. I'm back on. I hope you can hear me okay. So how do you guys plan the evolution of technology and the life cycle of SaaS?
So we're a SaaS company, and we provide a SaaS tool. And I'm going to answer this question from the perspective of our customers, which is they need to plan for the evolution of technology and the typical SaaS life cycle. And what we recommend is that they choose the right partner, because you need to make sure that you have a partner that's in it for the long term, who is going to be looking at all of the new technologies that are coming into the marketplace into play. So for example, artificial intelligence is the latest, sort of big buzzword, particularly in the Salesforce ecosystem. And so, it's really important to stay with a company, to pick a company, and to know that the company is going to continue to evolve. So we just released about a year ago our artificial intelligence component to our platform, which serves up information to our sellers as they go through the sale and notifies them when they have vulnerabilities and tells them when they're single threaded on an account or they don't have the right coverage, that kind of thing. So we want to recommend to our customers to make sure that that the partner that they're choosing is in it for the long term, but also that they have the capability to actually evolve the product. Because what we don't want them doing is, certain number of years from now, deciding, okay, you guys are just not good enough in the technology space, and we're going to move on to somebody that's kept with the times. So that's our perspective from on that question. Sorry.
So I love that. So one of the things I'd like to add to that is make sure a lot of these tools are integrating into your CRM. And I think that's a big piece in evolution, right? So as you evolve and you change, you want to make sure that any upgrades are integrating into the core CRM of any company, because that's really, your CRM is typically the core of your sales business. And so you want to make sure that what you're doing has integration so that it can grow with you. You also want to make sure that it can scale well across, that it's very easy to scale. There are some that are so customizable that it's tough to scale in new departments and as things grow. I think that's really important. And you want to look at the partnerships they have, because that's as important. So if they're relying on certain technologies, you want to make sure the underlying technology in partnerships is also strong. So I think those are a couple things to consider. So thanks, guys. That was great. So next, which categories, this is our last question of the day here, which categories of technology do you think your sales team need to leverage to sell to the modern buyer? So I'm going to start this one. We tried to rotate. So I'm going to start this question. And I think there are essentially, and there may be more, but I came up with ultimately four categories of technology. So I think there's the technology that is around goals and KPIs, and I think there's that supports some of that. We think there's CRM technology, which I think is really important, right? So the CRM that really encompasses all of your goals, all of your KPIs, all of your reporting. There's methodology, which is around your training process. There's productivity, right? That's like ToutApp, like was mentioned, or even like Gmail plugins and Chrome extensions. So things like I heard or SalesLoft. All of those are like productivity tools, so we have to look at those. Then there's the social tools where I live, right? Which is your LinkedIn and your Sales Navigator, which are different. Twitter and YouTube and other tools around social, Facebook, Snapchat stories, whatever it looks like, those are tools. And then there's the more marketing automation tools, right? Like everything from your Pardots to your HubSpots, with landing pages and lead scoring and that kind of thing. So I think kind of that's where we fall in, and I'd love to hear Let's see. I guess Morgan, we'll start with you on this. What are some of the?
Sure, thanks. Obviously our software needs to be used because it does all the right things. But in terms of actually like the seller on the ground, I think video is really important. And Terrance, I'm giving you a plug here. For example, I got an email in a couple of days ago from somebody out in the field, for one of our sellers actually, who had received a small kind of like 2-minute video overview from somebody that was trying to partner with them on a deal. And she emailed me and said, we have to be able to use this technology where we can actually do like a little screen cam, kind of a capture of what we're trying to show somebody and send it off. Sometimes we can't get in touch with people. Sometimes we can't have the right conversation. They're not, give them the time to pay attention to what we're trying to get across. And so I think video is absolutely key for that. I think LinkedIn and Sales Navigator and being able to reach out and create a community of people that you are expressing or showing your thought leadership to, so that so that you can build trust and become a trusted advisor. I think that's really important. And of course, as I said before, methodology built into the software, built into your CRM is absolutely critical for productivity as well.
That's awesome, Morgan. Thank you so much for sharing that. So Daniel, how about you? Tell us a little bit about the categories of technology that you think will really help in selling to the modern buyer.
So kind of put them in 5 buckets. So one, so in order of probably priority and whether value or not, but so CRM being number 1, data being number 2, email being number 4. And 5.
Phones.
Yeah. So I think the phone, right? This crazy concept that Bell invented in 1876.
Have a conversation.
Yeah, it's the thing. I think we're going to see a lot more of that around like intelligence in conversations. So reps, if you do the math, if someone's leading a 50-person sales team and they're a VP of sales, their reps are actually doing 10,000 hours a quarter. So in 3 months, they're doing 10,000 hours of conversations. And the VP of sales or the head of sales is probably involved in like less than 1,000 of those. So, I think there's an enormous opportunity around conversation intelligence. So I think I look forward to where video can actually latch onto that. I think we're at like the earliest stages of video. I think fast forward 5 years from now, we're going to see a lot more there. But audio will be first, and I'm proud to be a part of that change.
That's fantastic. And Terrance, we're going to end this with you and you sharing technology categories maybe that we didn't mention yet.
Yeah, so I'm actually surprised that I managed to have something left over to say. Those are all fantastic suggestions. Morgan, I really hope none of our SDRs are on this webinar, because I think you're going to get a bunch of emails after this webinar. The big category that I'm super psyched about that isn't video is chat. Like, I think millennials and people who are engaging with their friends or families with brands online, they're using chat day in and day out to talk to people, and that's how they want to communicate, right? This is about communicating with their buyers in a way that they are most comfortable. I'm a heavy believer that the phone is not dead. Our team calls all the time. But a lot of our opportunities that we're finding that are starting to progress and kick off are all starting on our website chat. We use a tool called Drift. Absolutely amazing product from a team based out of Boston. But basically, they're able to show you stuff like who's on your website, and then you can reach out to them while they're on the website with the chat and start talking to them in real time. And I think that this is really how a lot of people are going to start buying in the future. It's you can multitask when you're on a website chat. You don't have to dedicate your entire energy and focus on the phone. You can be doing some other things while popping back and forth into Messenger or LinkedIn messaging and all that. So I think that's going to be a big part of sales technologies in the future. This
was amazing. We are just at our time right now. I think that the viewers of today will take away an enormous amount of tips and some ideas. And I thank you guys for joining. I'm going to say, if you're watching this and you got some great tips from Daniel, Morgan, Terrance, or myself, connect with us on LinkedIn, follow us on Twitter, and I'm sure we're all happy to help answer any of your questions around technology and helping you to accelerate the buyer's journey. Thanks, guys. And thanks, Sales for Life, for doing this.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Bye.